Hi everybody, welcome to my first booktube video. My name is Brooke. This is my new channel, Pages of Blessings. I also have a bookstagram at Pages of Blessings. This is kind of on a whim making a booktube. I have been a lover of booktube, a watcher of booktube, subscriber of many booktubers for quite a few years. And I've recently been really enjoying bookstagram side of things and sharing and posting and talking to many of you on there. And I wanted to share my November TBR, and I just had this thought that maybe I'd start a booktube channel. I'm not sure how it's going to go, what my scheduling or posts are going to look like, but I'm excited to be here. The community has been amazing. And I just kind of wanted to contribute, give a little back after just kind of being someone who consumed and interacted kind of on the sidelines for so long. I wanted to give back to the community that has given me so much. So I'm going to share my November TBR in this first video, and I am partaking in Historathon 3.0, and I believe who is doing that? That is Amanda the Curly Reader, Lindsay at Lindsay's Little Library, and Gloria, I believe, are all the host of Historathon 3.0, and there's 9 prompts. I don't think I'm going to get through all 9. I did pick 9 books. Some of the books I picked are a little hefty, so I'm not sure I'm going to get through all of them. I hope I do. I've read about 9 books this month, so it's possible, but I did have a lot of fun with the prompts. So the Stitch in Time prompt, every prompt corresponds to the previous one, so depending on what you read for one prompt will determine what you read for the next, which I will show all of that in a minute, but I had a lot of fun figuring that all out, and it made me look at my books in a different way. And I'm getting a lot off of my TBR cart. So we will go ahead and start. The first prompt is a book with Lost in the title. I have my prompts right here just so I don't forget. So the group read is The Lost Girls of Willowbrook, and so of course has Lost in the title. I'm really excited. This was on my TBR, so when they announced this as the group read, I immediately ordered myself a copy because it was super back ordered at my library. I didn't think I would get it in time. So this follows sisters, and one of the sisters is presumed dead, but now she's finding out, her twin sister's finding out she wasn't dead about, I think it says like 6 years later, that she was actually committed to Willowbrook State School. But now she's missing. So instead of being dead, she finds out her sister's just recently gone missing from this state school. Super intrigued. Willowbrook was a real place in Staten Island, I believe. So I'm really excited to pick this one up, and for the group discussion, I believe will be on Amanda's channel at the end of November. So that is really exciting. The next prompt is that this book has to be set in a different country than this one. So this takes place in the United States. So I'm picking up Kristen Hanna's The Nightingale, which takes place in France. I have heard so many good things about not only Kristen Hanna, but this book. I think I own like 3 or 4 of her books, but I haven't read her yet. I don't know why. I think because her books just intimidate me. They're a little bit on the thicker side. But this one, from what I gathered, is about takes place during World War II, during the Nazis, and a German captain kind of takes over the main character's home, and her daughter and her must live with the enemy. Just that premise in and of itself, like living with the enemy, reminds me a little bit of who is it? Romanov by, who is it by? The same author as Wistress and Fox. I can't think of, I'll add it here somewhere. Why can't I think of her name? Anyways, reminds me a little bit of the Romanovs, like living with the enemy and how that all goes. So really excited to pick this one up. The next prompt after Kristen Hanna, after Set in a Different Country, has a similar cover. So I went with the color, like this turquoisey blue, and picked up another World War II book. I just recently hauled this from a library sale. This is called Daughters of the Resistance. So a similar color. This takes place in Ukraine in 1943. I love historical fiction, love specifically World War II historical fiction, and I've never read anything having to do with Ukraine before. So I'm really, especially with everything that's going on over there in current day, I thought this would be an interesting read. Looks fairly like an easy read. And on the back it says for fans of the tattooist of Auschwitz. And I really enjoyed that book, so I hope I like this one too. After that, I have to pick a book that's set in a different decade. This one takes place in 1943, and this one is 1913. So different decade. This is The Woman of Copper Country. This takes place in Michigan. I live in Michigan. I've not read too many Michigan-based books. I think I might have also gotten this from a library sale at one point. I'm not entirely sure, but it's essentially follows, let's see. So women labor in the houses of the elite and send their husbands and sons deep underground each day, dreading the fateful call from the company man telling them that their loved ones aren't coming home. So when Annie, I'm assuming she's the main character, decides to stand up for the entire town, angering her husband with her newfound independence, nearly everyone believes she may have taken on more than she is prepared to handle. Mostly interested because it takes place in Michigan. We'll see. We'll see. If anyone's read this, let me know how it was. After this, we have to pick an author with the same last name as this book. So this is by Mary Doria Russell. So I had to pick an author with the last name that started with an R. I'm joining on the bandwagon, and I'm reading A Voice in the Wind by Francine Rivers. This has been, my mother-in-law borrowed me the Mark of the Lion trilogy 2 years ago. Never picked it up. I really enjoyed Redeeming Love, and now it seems like everyone in the Christian fiction booktube world is reading this book right now, and I feel very left out, so I'm picking it up. I've heard many good things about it, so I ended up getting my own copy off Pango because I have a feeling I'm going to be marking things and just listening to different, I believe I listened to Oshina's review on this, and it just made me, she described the faith of the main character so well and like how moving it was, and I just need that in my life right now. So picking this up, so like between Nightingale and this, I don't know. I'm really excited to read both, but there's so many pages. We'll see. Again, it's just for fun, right? These readathons are just for fun. I don't have to get through all of them. So this was really easy. The next prompt has fewer pages. Many books has fewer pages than Francine Rivers books. So I went really tiny, and I'm picking up Esperanza Rising. Middle grade, beloved classic. I have never read it. I remember seeing it on the library shelves. I might have read it. Once I start reading it, maybe I'll remember a little bit of it. I remember seeing it all the time in my library, like as a kid. But this takes place, so Esperanza lives on her family's ranch in Mexico. She would always have fancy dresses and a beautiful home filled with servants. Papa and Abuelita would always be with her. But a sudden tragedy shatters her world and forces Esperanza and Mama to flee to California, where they settle in a camp for Mexican farm workers. And this takes place during the Great Depression. So definitely, I like that it's a different time period. I have a lot of World War II set books on my list, so I'm glad it's a different time period, and it's a middle grade. It'll be a lot easier to read. It'll kind of be a palate cleanser through all of this. And then I had to pick a book with a protagonist of a different race. I'm going with another beloved World War II writer, Kate Quinn's The Diamond Eye. This is her newest release. I have yet to read anything by Kate Quinn. I have The Rose Code is being lent to me at the end of November, so maybe we'll get to that in December. But I'm really excited about this. I've heard, again, nothing but good things about Kate Quinn. I have really no idea what this one is specifically about. I know all of her novels tend to follow a woman's perspective during the war and their role in it. So I don't know. I could read this really quick, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to read it and then tell you guys anything without just reading. But I'm really excited. So The Diamond Dime. Then I had to pick this one. I know stumped a lot of people. I worked this backwards, so I like kept just looking at my books because I was trying to use books I either had checked out from the library already or that I already owned. And so I kept just reading the blurbs and trying to see if I had any authors in some that were similar, and then I stumbled upon this. So on the back, Kristen Harmel. So I don't think it's at the prompt. So you have to pick an author who blurbed this book for the next book. So on the back, all the blurbs. Kristen Harmel blurbed it, and she is the author of the Book of Lost Names. So that will be my next one. This is another one I got at a library book sale, and this is again World War II. From what I understand, the main character was in charge of when kids were orphaned by the war, or they were separated from their families. She was in charge of changing their identities and kind of sending them to safety. But she kept a book of all of their original names. And it's kind of, I think it might be like two different timelines, like a historical timeline and a present day timeline, maybe. I've heard mixed reviews. Some people rave about this and other ones say it just kind of fell flat. So I'm interested to see how I like it, but I'm really excited to pick that one up. Keep saying that. I'm excited to pick every book up. I mean, that's why I'm here, right? It's a booktube channel. We love all the books. All the books I still haven't read yet. The last prompt is the same number of letters in the title. So this one I think had 18, somewhere around there. And so I'm picking up The Moonlight School. This is by Susan Woods Fisher. This is, I remember someone on BookTube. I need to be better about writing down who recommends books. Like when I add a book to my TBR, where I got that idea from, because I always forget who reviewed that book or who said it was good. But someone did. And I remember immediately adding it to my library request cart. And this has to do with, it's inspired by true events. Takes place in 1911 in Kentucky. Cora Wilson Stewart, superintendent of school. Okay, I'm skipping. Fish out of water. So there's a play. Cora knows the twin plagues of illiteracy and poverty. And plan to open a schoolhouse to adults on moonlight nights. The best way to combat poverty, she believes, is to eliminate illiteracy. But will the people come? Okay, this is shaking my memory. So she essentially opens up a school during the moonlight hours and teaches people in the community how to read and trying to overcome poverty through literacy, which I think I'm gonna like this book the best out of all of them. Maybe not The Voice in the Wind, but I've been super excited to read this one now that I'm reminding myself of the plot, because I 100% agree that the best way we can help fight poverty in this country is literacy, and we have a problem with literacy, and our literacy rates are declining, which seems like it shouldn't be happening in modern day, but it is. Maybe that has to do with technology. I'm not entirely sure of the reasons, but I have read quite a few books that have mentioned the declining literacy rates, especially in kids, and kids are just struggling. And if you can't read, you're going to struggle in every other subject and in every other area of life. So I'm really looking forward to this one. It's last. If I end up getting in a slump, I might just pick it up and skip over some of these other ones. I think you're technically supposed to do it in order, but at least picked all 9, right? So that is my 9 books for Historathon 3.0. Now, what else is taking place in November is Nonfiction November. And I have 2 books picked out because I know I really want to read these 2. So I'll fit them in somewhere. Again, I don't think I'm going to get through 11 books, but if I don't, I'll just push them to December because they're all books I definitely want to get to. My first one just recently came in as a pre-order. This is called Live Your Truth and Other Lies, Exposing Popular Deceptions That Make Us Anxious, Exhausted, and Self-Obsessed. This is by Alisa Childers. I read her first book, Another Gospel. That was more of her story through finding apologetics and having more of a foundation for her faith, not just believing because her parents believed, but actually having reason and logic behind her faith. She talks about the difference in definitions used nowadays within the Christian community, how, you know, we don't always, there's different, someone can say they're a Christian, but they might hold to different beliefs than someone else who says they're a Christian. Even if we're using the same words, we might be meaning different things. That was more of her first book. This is exposing cultural lies, so it's taking those things that like are kind of fed to us through social media and other avenues. I mean, live your truth. How many times have you heard that? Like, just do what's good for you and I'll do what's good for me. As long as you're living your truth, you know, you can't really do any wrong. I'm really excited to pick this up. I've heard, I'm pretty sure I ordered it way back when she first announced it. I would say I've heard her chapter names are really intriguing. Airplanes, trousers, leprechauns, popsicles, Armageddon, cheerleader, New York, mosquitoes, McJudgy pants, friends, jukebox. Those are really chips and death march. So very interesting chapter names. But I think I'm down here, like, so it says, live your truth is one of the lies. You are enough. You should put yourself first. You only have one life. God just wants you to be happy. You shouldn't judge. You are the boss of you. It's all about love. So she'll be going over all of those common heard cultural slogans, kind of debunking them within a Christian perspective. If you didn't get that already, this is a Christian biblical based book. She also has podcasts. Highly recommend her podcasts. Then my last book that I'm putting on my November TBR is The Case for Christ by Lee Strobel. I'm going to be buddy reading this. We haven't set a date yet, so it could get pushed to December. But with Bailey at Bailey's Bookshelf, she recently hauled this, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've had that on my cart for forever. I've seen the movie, but I really want to read the book. If you're not aware about Lee Strobel's story, he was a journalist, a former legal editor, and his wife comes to Christ after they had been married, and he sets out to prove Christianity is false, like an investigative journalism piece with to basically talk his wife out of the faith, and through that process he actually comes to faith. Love the premise, love the fact that it's an actual real story, and this is his words of his journey to Christ. And I remember loving the movie, but I think the book will probably be better. I mean, aren't the books always better? So that is it. Here is my, see if I can grab them all. Oh no, I don't think I'm going to be, oh, one's already falling. But here's my stack for November. And thank you all for watching my first video. I don't necessarily know when I will post another one, but I would love if you could drop in the comments what you would like to see. If you want to see a getting to know me video, I am doing a tour of my TBR cart series on my Bookstagram, so follow me there to see more of what is all on this cart. And yeah, let me know anything else you want to see. Thank you so much for tuning into my first video. This is way out of my comfort zone, but I'm really happy to be a part of this community. So I will see you all next time. Bye.